Hey, what's up, guys? 6.3 public test UI test on the lovely carriers, which is the new big change towards the public test. Um, I recently checked it out, and it's fairly awesome the way they did things, and fairly glitchy the way they did things. With the new UI test, you can't actually type in chat. You are unable to type in chat when you put the alternative interface mode. How to put it on is right here. You go to controls and you will go to alternative mouse controls here. That will be there. They also have smoke screen timer indicators. That is new. So everything here is fairly nice. I'm very impressed with the carrier UI update. It's something new. It gives you the alternative for StarCraft controls. The F3 commands and all that for focusing fire does not work on the UI or on the map at all. And also you cannot type in chat when using that alternative interface mode at all. But you could see the chat. And scroll in or out of it. Your mouse across here completely disappears and nothing works at all afterwards. You have also the French cruisers, gentlemen. The French cruisers are out. Let's go take a look at them. Vive la France. So, Bougainville. Bougainville. Fairly nice looking ship. Well, pretty ugly actually. They're French. We could see the armor layout at least, you know, tier 1, who gives a fuck, right? So let's go to tier 2. This looks like a World War 1. It's pretty much a World War 1 series. And the plating armor. So let's take away this plating armor. Citadel Athwart. This thing is going to be so hard to Citadel. It is so far below the waterline. I don't think you're going to Citadel this in tier 2. But that's okay. Who cares about tier 2? Let's go to tier 3. This is where things get interesting. This is a 139mm caliber gun, so they're pretty decently big for their tier. It comes in double-barreled setups like this instead of the standard of most other cruisers, where if we look at tier 3, let's say the UK, Caledon, it's pretty much all inline. If we go to, let's say, Germany for tier 3, the Königsberg, it's all around. All the guns are all the way around. If we go to the USSR Bombardier, it's all around, same thing. The American St. Louis, it's basically a gunship all the way around. And then you have the Tenryu, which has all center mass pieces, center mass guns. So this is the first cruiser where it's like their higher tier counterparts, the Friant. So it's going to be intriguing. It's definitely going to be different. Now this is where the British cruisers have a big trend. If we take apart, show the plating, okay? This is where it gets interesting. Citadel torpedo bulkhead. Citadel Athwart. So look at the size of this Citadel. It is absolutely freaking massive. Look at that, the whole middle of the ship. And look how far up it sticks out of the waterline. This is a massive shooting point, Matt. You will absolutely devastate this freaking thing. Especially, like, Arkansas betas, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, hell yeah, you know? Like, you thought British cruisers were bad. Watch till you French see the French cruisers. Look at this. Massive citadels. They're sticking like a foot above the waterline. You can't miss it. They're huge. Like, no wonder the French get speed boost. They're gonna run away so freaking hard, man. Oh my god, you know. But you're gonna see this double-barrel turret setup, and this continues all throughout the French line. These massive high citadels off their ships. I mean, and they have no armor. Put on the plating, buddy. You only got 16 millimeters in there and 13 millimeters in the... You're gonna get citadel, and if not overpenned. One of the two. And you'll be lucky if you're overpenned. Especially versus other cruisers that are gonna catch you broadside. Now,
we have Citadel bulkhead armor. Look at that. Now that's a little bit lower to the waterline because the ship is a little bit lower than the Bogey Truin. It's a it's in French. It's Dugay Truin. Truin. That's how you say it. So it's very interesting. Then after you have this, it's called the Emile Bertin. Is how you say it in French. So it's very interesting. And this Citadel's a little bit lower to the water. The ship comes with some torpedo tubes. Let's take off this lovely armor layout. As you can see here, it comes with triple set torpedo tubes. I don't think the French cruisers are going to get very good AA, though. I think they're going to really suffer on that part, and they're going to get virtually no secondaries. I find that very interesting that they have like triple secondaries in the back. It's kind of cool. Or dual purpose, at least. Those look like dual purpose as well. Now, this one. This is where French cruisers get like New Orleans class, and they get their triple barrels and all that lovely stuff. Tier 6 only comes with double-barreled torpedo tubes, so I don't know what to say towards that. Also, comes with 152s. The Emile comes with 152s, but the Tier 4 comes with 155s. So you actually go lower in your gun caliber. So, La Galissonier, Galissonier, La Galissonier, which is how you say it in French. Excuse me, because it's been a while. So, La Galissonier has a weird-looking citadel. Athwart belt comes with 105 millimeters. The Citadel plate armor on the sides here, which is quite random. Right on the front here, that's a nice little section where you could Citadel it at 105 millimeters. Then after that, if we get onto the inside, it is still fairly low to the waterline, but still Citadelable. If you hit the waterline here, you'll go right through, no problem as a battleship, no hesitation. Main battery mount barbette, which is pretty tall, if I say so myself. These French cruisers seem to be very tall in the front. I don't know why they built them like that, but these things, thank God they're getting speed boost because they're going to be running away a lot. That's all I gotta say. So that's La Grenier. Double torpedo tubes, smaller guns than our Tier 4, same size guns as their Tier 5 counterpart, but they are high caliber, so I think these things are going to have pretty high velocity. Now, let's get to Algérie. This is Algérie. This thing is absolutely going to die. Okay, 203 millimeters, double barrel setup like an Admiral Hipper class at Tier 7. It has, from what it looks like, it has triple barreled torpedo tubes, one on each side, virtually no AA, or at least better AA than her counterpart, but I don't think they're going to do too well still. Now, let's look at her citadels. Holy shit, this thing is huge! As you could see here, the citadel is massive. And also, you could see the citadel armor belt, which is right here on the top. I mean, this thing is just going to absolutely just die. It is so huge off the waterline. It's just gonna die. That's all I gotta say, man. I mean, look at this. It's huge. Citadel Athwart. I'm not sure if it runs along the line like this here, but we know that that's the plating, so I can't seem to take it off or anything like that, but that's basically it. Now, the Charles Martel, this is how you say it in French. I'm seeing all these French ships. The Charles Martel is a little bit different. Her citadel is a little bit lower to below the waterline. Her belt armor is fairly thin as well, but it's fairly low, her belt armor, her citadel belt armor. She comes with 203s, 50s, and then she gets a 55s. What's interesting here is that you have to actually research the main batteries to get to the next ship. This is the first time I've ever seen that, so
Basically, you get better guns, you could go to the next ship. So I don't see the battle line of that instead of a hull. Actually, no, you have to go from hull A to hull B, then you get the better guns, and then you could get the next ship. Ah, okay, sorry, I didn't see that little line down there. I thought it was just like this. And yeah, but whatever. Anyways, you go A to B to new guns, and then to this ship. Interesting. So they're trying a different route with these French cruisers. Did they do this for any of the other French ones? Doesn't seem like it. No. Okay. Well, whatever. So they don't do it for any of the French ones except for the Charles Martel. I guess it's because you're starting after this one. It's going to be pretty much paper ships. She comes with what it looks like to be one triple mounted torpedo tube. I think she's going to have fairly decent AA in her second hull because it looks like she has a lot more AA on her ship. You'll probably need manual fire, but still looks like garbage AA. I think these French cruisers are really going to suffer because of this. Now we get to the St. Louis. Yes, the second St. Louis, and she's much, much bigger. Oh, or St. Louis in French. Or St. Louis. But whichever one you want to put it, depends on how French you are. She gets a couple of double 40 millimeter Bofors, a couple of 20 millimeter Oerlikons. So she gets more like her American counterparts, except just a lot less. She looks fairly decent. She gets on her side here, which is pretty high, triple torpedo tubes. Don't think you'll be using those too often, to be honest with you. Catapult fighters, which is pretty big. Look at this funnel. That is the ugliest looking fucking funnel I have ever seen. I mean, look, you put the funnel in the back, and then you put 20 millimeter Oerlikons on the top. I gotta admit that's kind of smart, but fucking ugly. That is just, I can't stand looking at this. This is so ugly of a superstructure. But anyways, so let's get to her citadels. Fairly big citadel with virtually no armor at all. She gets 100 millimeters of armor, so I could see her bouncing maybe a couple of cruiser shells bow in, which would be pretty decent. Citadel athwart belt armor. Her bow citadel armor is 100 millimeters here, 20 millimeters there. Fairly. I mean, this citadel is huge. It extends just above the waterline. So she will probably be citadeled pretty easy as well. I could see her having difficult with plunging fire. It's 80 millimeters, so cruiser plunging fire may have some difficulty, I could say. But as in terms of battleships hitting her, this thing's going to hurt. And this thing is not small neither. This thing is good. Probably looks like at least a little bit between Des Moines and maybe Zhao, with less maneuverability. So, yeah, from what I was seeing stats online. Now let's get to her tier 10 counterpart. This one looks fairly interesting. I mean, look how big this thing is. God, this thing is huge. This looks like another Moskva, man, but with shittier armor. And that's always going to run away. Like, look at this top here. This top section, okay? Just imagine this now. Imagine you're a Minotaur looking at 30 millimeters and 16 millimeters. Look at the sheer size of this thing. If you're looking at this thing with a Minotaur, this thing is going to fucking melt. He will have no chance at all of finding you. Like, these things are going to have to stay way in back of the pack. Again, 45 millimeters of belt armor, fairly low to the waterline. But, I mean, 80 millimeters of deck armor with here 19 millimeters of torpedo bulge armor, which is like barely nothing. But look how far away that gap is between the torpedo bulge and the citadel. That is pretty big. That's pretty chill. I like that. Less of possibility of a chance of a detonation, I think, personally. Unless, of course, they are French, so possibilities might be increased. 240 millimeters by 55 caliber. This will be the biggest normal non-premium cruiser guns. Yes, the biggest non-cruiser guns. We thought Moskva had big guns. Well, Mosca got beat from the 220 she has. Look at this. Moskva has been put to shame. Except she has 65 calibers, so she'll have obviously still the highest velocity. But, oh my god, the French are getting bigger guns than the Russians. How is this normal, sir? I think personally these 240s are going to be so inaccurate, but that's besides the point. No wonder this ship is so huge. I mean, this is going to be Moskva 201, 2.0. Bigger guns, lower velocity. I mean, look at this end plating. God, I can imagine being a Minotaur versus this thing. Oh, the amount of damage, the possibility this thing is going to enact for a Minotaur. Minotaur is going to be laughing at this thing, man. Like, look at this bow in, okay? Like, look at this bow in. Look at this bow in. How could you not hit that thing? It is huge. Look at that. Everywhere you hit is just plate armor. Lovely, lovely plate armor that you can just destroy. And broadside, I feel so bad for these French cruisers. Honestly, I do. But this is the new French cruiser line. It looks fairly interesting. Fairly high citadels and large citadels. So battleships are going to have a heyday versus these guys. Especially the tier 7s. The tier 6. Tier 7. Tier 5 and Tier 4. I mean, these things are going to get massively citadeled very, very easily. But they look fairly interesting. They're bigger than normal cruiser guns. They have cruiser setups all the way, pretty much all the way from Tier 3 and above. They have really just natural looking cruiser setups. So, I say these things will be pretty much... I think they're going to be pretty good. Honestly, with the speed boost, they're going to have to be runaway cruisers. I do not know what their guns will be like. That is still to be known. I think they're going to have fairly high velocity, higher velocity than the Americans. So I think they're going to be somewhat Japanese velocity, to be honest with you. But this tier 10 looks so interesting. I'm honestly not surprised. It's either going to be super good or it's going to be super shit. It's definitely going to be one of those two. Because it's just massive. It's huge. I mean, look at this. It's like, it's everywhere. Like, for superstructure shooting, for Minotaurs and other cruisers too, I think this thing is just going to absolutely get devastated. So, yeah. Well, I wish best of luck to the people who grind this line. I wish best of luck to myself, actually, because I will most probably be grinding this line all the way through. And I'll probably post reviews for every single one of these ships as I'm grinding them, because they look fairly intriguing and they look very interesting. I mean, as ships themselves, they look interesting, but as in terms of looks itself, God, they are ugly, gentlemen. They are ugly. They're French. And they will be waving the white flag constantly versus battleships, I think. And they will be running away very fast. So, please, gentlemen, give the French cruisers a try. As I said, for the names are Bougainville, Durin de la Gravier, Friant, the Duguay Truin, you have the Émile Bertin, then La Galissonnière Algérie, and then you have Charles Martel, St. Louis, and Henry le Quatrième, the fourth. So, Henry IV, if you really want to put it that way, but it's Henry le IV, because Henry the Fourth. That's how you say it. Anyways, so this is what they are, and gentlemen, I'll show a quick review of the UI of the Shokaku now, with Shokaku as a carrier. They have completely removed Invisifier. That is officially gone, so we no longer need to worry about Invisifiring. that's officially gone, gentlemen. That's really unfortunate for especially gearing captains. You know, Mahan, Farragut. But Russians, I can't really say goodbye to that because they sort of shoot and they get detected anyways. Because if you're not detected in a Russian, you're doing it wrong. But overall, this is very, very interesting UI update. So I'll walk you through all the glitches that are still going on and all the lovely stuff. I'm versus in Lexington now. So a couple of tier 8s here, you could see a couple of tier 6s, tier 7s. So it's a fairly balanced matchmaking at tier 8. The Shokaku does fairly well still. I mean, the carrier UI update, I already put it on. I already put on the controls, so you will be seeing some of that. Now, how are the controls? Okay. Number one, if I try to chat... Oh, now it's working the chat. Interesting. So let's try in-game, because before it wasn't working in-game. I'm not sure if they updated recently, but I think it gets better because the tier 4 carrier was having some issues. Alright, so you can right-click now. This is me right-clicking to move my carrier. Left-click no longer works with the alternative battle interface for the carrier itself. So that ends right there. As in terms of planes, you could still select them. Shift to select multiple, or you could use obviously the other keys as well. Defensive fire still works. Now, as in terms of carrier planes themselves, if I press Alt, right-click, I will shoot, and left-click, I will hit it. So it works for both. Left-click to select planes, no longer to move planes, no longer works, but right-click to move the planes. I'm not sure. Okay, so you can't move the planes with the left click anymore. People will have to get used to this. If you're used to StarCraft, it might be easier for you. So that's the way it is. So you no longer select an area to go to as well. I'm still getting used to these UI updates, actually, because I'm just so used to playing carriers in a certain playstyle, and that's just the way it is. So that works. Chat no longer works, as you can hear. I'm trying to type something and it doesn't work, so it only works before the game. They have to still fix that. So that's one thing they still need to fix. Also, I will show you certain keys. F1 does it work? No, F1 does not work. F2 does not work. So any of the pre-placed keys do not work. I have to find out what's going on with that in the battle interface mode. So it's quite interesting. Right now you see my team. They're moving up, but whatever. So I will move my fighter planes here. I spotted a DD, the Kagero. And the fool turns right into my torpedoes, and he's gonna die. And there we go. Yes, off to a great start. Absolutely, sir. So, I found where the carrier planes are. I'm gonna bring my fighters there. As I could see, he's in a strike loadout. Oh. So now that I notice which way they're coming, well, now I just realized something. After dropping your bombs, actually slowed down the planes. I'm not sure if he has his carrier skill on.
Oh, no, 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 no. And now I'm just going to go torpedo this Fuso. So right now I'm using left click to attack this Fuso. I'm not using my right click. So the left click does still work. And there goes that Fuso pretty much down to half HP. Nothing, he can absolutely do nothing versus this Shokaku, so. So right now I have to right click to maneuver all my planes, and it is left click I can use to attack with the alternative, but I can also left click in order to attack with manual, or automatic that is. So you have the option of using both basically, and not just one. But to select is left click, you cannot right click to select, and movements are all right click, not left click. That is the only thing. But the attack commands are all left and right. So now I want to be going headed towards B right now. Nope. I think I'll just head over here. Oh, that poor Lexington. See what happens when you don't move with your team and you move without your team and you just sit in one spot? That's what kind of happens, buddy. I don't know why his planes are so slow, but they are. So now I am going for this. These battleships are trying to go on the flank our friendlies, so I'm going to take them out now. That's one. So it's not like this was a hard matchup, just due to the fact that there wasn't too many tier 8
AA cruisers and battleships and all that. It was fairly low tier. But as you can see, the UI update is completely changed. It's more dynamic. It's a lot better. The only thing is, though, you can't use any of the F keys to focus fire of anything. But all your attack commands are now both mouse keys. They're not both just one. So it can get fairly complicated at moments. You're going to have to get used to it. But it's fairly nice now, because then you could rotate between the two. But your movement, the movement itself is only right click. The attack commands are both clicks. That's where it gets interesting. So fairly get used to it. Recently, I don't know what happened. I'm not sure if it's... Yeah, see, it's still broken the in-game economy. I'm not sure if carriers got better with their economy in this recent patch, but I think they did. I'm not too sure. But yeah. Anyways, gentlemen, thank you so much. This is a review of patch 6.3. 6.3. New French cruisers being shown. Carrier UI updates. And also, I believe Invisifire. I will probably show later on the Invisifire differences. Alright? Just wanted to show the carrier updates because that's the biggest thing of this patch. Alright? Have a great day, gentlemen.